Good morning, everyone. This is Honorable John Mututho. Most of you know me, but just in case somebody has forgotten, I was intending the parliament, and you know who I intend the parliament. I salute you this morning. We are here because of the current very bad situation. We are here to explain only basics, and this is in a matter touching on the 4.2 trillion budget. The big question which everybody is avoiding to ask is, how did we get there to 4.2 trillion? How did we get there? That is the problem. The problem is not on the 319 billion, which is a shortfall on the budget. But the budget, the question is, how did we get there? In my view, we should not have been there in the first place. And the whole finance bill tries to finance or to power that 4.2 trillion. I want to say, without any hesitation, without any reservation, without any doubt in my mind, the 4.2 includes also budgeted corruption. So the best way forward is this. You look back, and there was the PS Treasury, Mr. Kenywa, and later the president, former President Uhuru Muigai Kenyatta. By then, President Ruto was a deputy. They put up this scenario that in every day, each and every day, Kenyans lose about 2 billion shillings on corruption. That is true. I sat in parliament in various committees, and that figure is accurate. In fact, I guess today it could be almost 3 billion per day. But let's work on the 2 billion. So if you do simple calculation times 365 days, that is 730 billion. So if we can stop that budgeted corruption of 730 billion, then we don't have to come and start taxing bread, touching the most sensitive area, the land and other things. So we can still run the current budget, giving them all benefits of doubt without corruption and still have a surplus budget. So I propose a very simple finance bill. Very simple and very basic. Anybody, even a class 7 person can be able to do that one, to calculate that one. You apportion a certain amount, which I'm going to define, to the DCI. Don't start saying he comes from this tribe or he comes from this party or whatever he is. New money. We apportion about 20 billion shillings to the DCI. I'm now constructing a true finance bill. Give DCI new money, 20 billion. Give him the freedom to do what he's trying to do within the penal code. He will nab everybody who is attempting to loot the 730 billion. That way, the budget balances pretty well. To go with that, we do about 7.5 billion to ODPP for effective prosecution. They need to come on their feet and be able to prosecute without joking, and do it thoroughly and steadily. We do another 7.5 billion to judiciary so that they can run a 24 hours court system. They can be able to do that if you finance them. They have the will. They are men and women of goodwill. I know most of them. I've met most of them in life, including the Chief Justice. These are people who mean good for this country. If you bring evidence, hand evidence there and then, if you have been caught red-handed with that cash you have stolen or whatever it is, and they are facilitated to go to the site and it's proven, they will do what they are supposed to do according to the law. And if judiciary have that kind of money And then we are putting into the ODP that kind of money. And then I said DCI, who will conduct the investigations based on what we're informing the DCI. That is not more than 35 billion only. And we shall recover the budgeted corruption of 730 within this budget. I'm not even talking about complications. However, we need to appreciate the Gen Z, and they should be rewarded by being allowed, not being given honoraria, but being allowed to form the ombudsman, special ombudsman, so that they are able to collect the reports of those corruption things. They have the data, they are able to monitor, and we allow about 5 billion for them. They are working, they are jobless. This time they will have a job to report. If somebody has pocketed, like I know somebody is trying to pocket about 300 million now somewhere, which is meant for street children, it's a fact. Such people should be able to follow, push the DCI, push the courts and everybody. So Gen Z will participate in building their own country, not our country, their own country. With that, you will have not only a balanced budget, a balanced finance bill, but everybody will be happy. I agree with the president that you should listen, and that is me. I'm offering you a sense of reason, a voice of reason. Mr. President, you have so many recruits in your front line. Please come forward yourself and follow that kind of thing. It's so easy. You'll have a bill of about 5 pages, nothing more. And you can call the parliament. That takes about an hour. I have been there. We have been there with you. You know it. And then we don't have this problem at all. Now, within 6 months, after we solve this problem, then we go back to the budget again. What was it? We were budgeting 4.2. Other than the budgeted corruption, what is it? What we would recommend is that within 6 months, we do what we call zero budgeting. That is within the norms of budget process in parliament. We go to every nyumba kumi and we start from there. What we cannot finance this year, we can always go to next financial year. We phase it out, say 3 times. That is allowed in budgeting process. To the best of my knowledge, the last attempt to do that was done in 1979. So what has happened? These people who have budgeted corruption have been using factorial kind of budgeting, so that if last year we had 1 trillion as corruption money, you add a certain factor on that, and this year it will be 1.3, 1.2. That's a fact. Tusiongee mengi kuhusu hiyo. And I have sat in that budget committee, I've done oversight. I know these things the way they are. So within the next 6 months, all of us Kenyans, wherever you are, we participate in budget making process. And we start from zero budgeting. Whatever our needs are, whatever it is, if we can't do it in this financial year, then we can do it next financial year, then or the other year. That's the best way to do it. That's the most savourist way to do it. But remember, there will be no corruption money there. Because you call yourself Wanjiko, call yourself Atieno or Otieno, all of you, in one way or another, are participating. And it will all go towards that. If we look at it again, within this same period and within this finance bill, we have a full chapter on economic stimuli. This is a way of funding the industry to be more vibrant and to stop them from corrupting. And I would have this very simple proposal in this finance bill. Number 1 is on VAT. You stay at 16%, the way you are saying it, 16%. And I target here the major industries like the hotel industry. Collect the 16%, but 6% of that you account differently. Show that you have employed new employees, or you have done something to improve on your hotel, which is up and above your normal budgetary process. That way we shall create a lot of jobs in millions. The same can be done with other heavy industries. And you remember the 6% we are returning back or giving back will still come back to the government anyway in one form or another, because these people have to buy and then they have to pay VAT. And then don't have these daydreams that you can come and continue pressing people on fuel and bread and those essentials for the ladies. And as men particularly, we don't use them. Why don't we just behave and not step on that area? It's a sacred area. Tuache hizo story. Yeah? If you are so broke in your thinking, please go and think sukuma wiki, go and think cassava, but don't go that way. If anything, just have it zero rated. Zero, 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 as in zero, so that you can have hygiene. Our ladies are great. They really like their hygiene, and tuache kwenda that line. That one na manywele zao, tuachane na hiyo laini, tuachane na hawa watu. I want to say, if we did that, we will have so many new employees, and most of these companies will be stable. The other one is, if you can recall, one of the most famous budget speeches by Kibaki when he was the Minister for Finance, he put in 17% requirement that everybody who is licensed banker, or today you have SACCOs and other things, those people must allocate 17% to agriculture. Why? Because there are only 4 factors of production in agriculture. You have land, labor, capital, entrepreneurship, or management. So to stimulate agriculture, currently, what they are lacking is capital. So by having affordable loans, which is controlled by the state, like that time we were doing it at 2.5% interest, a lot of people will show up and do agriculture. If they do, we'll have good supply of food, and then the working class will spend much less on food and quality food, and more people will be employed. So I propose that the president and his team considers 20%. Anybody who wants to give the loans, whether you are giving in trillions or billions, but 20% should be going towards agriculture. That is doable under this finance bill. Again, I'm saying, I'm taking my thinking, I'm only taking my thinking to only 5 pages of that finance bill, not 1,500 to cheat Kenyans. The other things you should not touch. Don't touch land. If you start overtaxing land, then you are already increasing the production cost in agriculture which you are trying to save. So don't touch. The British were chased from Kenya because of touching on land. Muhindi Aribaki. The Indian did not touch on land, he did business. So if you people in power want to be chased, just touch on matters to do with the land. That is nothing to look for. That's a textbook fact. Usiguze mambo ya mashamba, wachana naye. Let people who can produce. Finally, you have to revive projects that are viable. Garana failed because of the corruption budget. When people saw how much was going to be spent at Garana, about 7-8 billion, they thought they should have made 10 billion themselves. People who had proposed, like John Mututho, were never allowed to go near Garana because it is a holy place. It's a place where there was going to be major eating. Little do they know that if they had bothered to lead that project properly, we would have employed over 2 million people from that project alone. Unga would be at less than 50 shillings. My president, Dr. William Samoei Ruto, you know, when I tell you, I'm telling you the truth. Na ukweli tupu. Maize here is more expensive than maize being grown on a lava valley in Israel. Why? Because of these so many parameters. Fake fertilizer being imported, some of it radioactive. Don't allow that. Let's do other business. But we look at such major projects like Garana and others which can be formed. For instance, you know it, it's a textbook fact. And I've spent 21 years in school and university, in 4 universities. I can tell you, Turkana County can produce more food I repeat, Turkana County can produce more food than Egypt. A fact. And that is a textbook fact. I'll tell you more. Kiambu can be bigger than the Rwanda economy they boast about. Kiambu has the foundation to do better than Rwanda. So why are we killing ourselves? Now that Gen Z have woken up, let us now give them a chance to come and supervise us, the old timers, to come and make sure that we do the right thing. And nobody should attempt to kill those children. They are making you come from your nyamachoma. They are making you come from your slumber. They are coming to fichua you. Please don't look at them. Don't fight with them again. Take your 2 hours, make a new finance bill, withdraw that change thing, and then have something that will help everybody in Kenya. I want to touch on education. Really, you look at it and you see it every day. Two very bad things are happening in Kenya. Look at the number of kids who are in secondary schools and primary schools. I guess over 10 million. Look at them. They have hope. But why are you allowing them to carry 40 kgs of textbooks that have an expiry date? Why, in the name of God Almighty, why are you doing it? Which school did you attend? Because the schools, the books written by Carrie Francis then are still valid, only that now this time they have been digitized. Why are these books, which have even some errors, being used and people being forced to take those books through their throat? Stop it. This CBC is weird system. If it is what is making people spoil the backs of their children, stop it. Instead, I propose digital competence curriculum. Digital competence curriculum. I'm the founder chairman of Computer for Schools Kenya, and that organization has applied over 500 million computers up until now. They have trained most of you, so I know what I'm talking about. What we need urgently is digital competence curriculum. Again, I come to Gen Z, wapatiwe hiyo kazi. Let them do the consortium, hawataimba kitu. They do a curriculum that works, because I would like to see a situation where in about 12 months, nobody is calling textbooks or exercise books. We are all digital. We are all digital. And this is something you can't stop. We have to embrace ourselves for artificial intelligence. You cannot stop it. Mr. President, just can't stop it. Don't be pulled to come and start doing the Abunwasi job of carrying a donkey on your head. Forget about this CBC. Have this Gen Z do for you a digital competence curriculum. And if you agree, send them to me. I give them the framework. Waende wafanye hiyo kazi. And with that, there will be no quarrel and everybody will be happy. But there must be an end to corruption. There must be an end to intimidation. There must be a new beginning, a new era of transparency. We must consider and understand that even if you are a billionaire, I hear some people having $1 trillion in their accounts, you do not have a title deed for Kenya. All of us belong there. We are not squatters in our own country. God save Kenya.